Amazing.
Great.
Good morning, everyone. You would not believe the rush behind the scenes that we just had. We're here. It is so fun. Anyway, we're doing things a little bit differently here today. But we've got Danielle, and I'm super happy to have you. And we've got such an important topic. So here with me today is Danielle Barrett, and she's the owner of Physio Matters. Sorry, Physio Matters, which is, I think, a premier place for people to go. I think I value you so much for the out-of-the-box thinking that you do with any condition. So Danielle treats everything, babies, men, women, but you're very focused on female health as well.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to talk about how important it is that we have really good strategies so that we don't incur injury in the postpartum period, so that we know how to lift our babies that grow heavier every single day, and just be mindful of our posture, our bodies as well, so that we can prevent any injury and not do too much damage as well. So Danielle has prepared a presentation for us. Today is slightly different because I won't be having access to the chat, but Diana is in the background, so any questions that you have, we won't take directly today, but you can type it in the chat and then Diana will be picking them up. And we'll be asking that an opportune moment kind of thing. We also have Elise in the background and maybe soon in the foreground. Elise is the owner of Pram Fox, a dear client of mine as well. Hello. So Elise has given us all these lovely props, except for a 100-year-old bathtub that I brought along, just so you know. We have car seats here, we have prams, we've got changing tables, and we're going to use all of that to demonstrate good posture and good movement practices as well.
That's right.
Okay? Yeah. So I'll hand over to you and I'll jump in whenever I feel is necessary.
Thank you. Thanks for the amazing introduction, Johanna, and thanks, Diana, and your team for having us here today. It's an absolute pleasure. And as Johanna mentioned, we've got this wonderful collaboration with Pram Fox. You can contact them directly, Elise and Deborah, absolutely amazing, and they'll guide you through the intricacies of the right piece of equipment for you. My focus today is just about teaching you how to move well and move safely. It doesn't matter if you're 10 years old or you're 65 years old, whether you've had a baby, you're pregnant, male or female. These are just generally safe postures and movements, which I have had the opportunity to learn over the years with a French group called Manutention. And you can look up Manutention if you like. So with credit to them, I'm using a lot of their postures and movements that I've applied to daily living and daily life. And that's what keeps me functional, strong, and still enjoying and hopefully being pain-free. So as you'll see in our PowerPoint, we'll just go to this next one. There are no set recipes for anybody, okay? So today I'm not about to say, look, this is the only way that you can move to lift your pram or lift your capsule. These are principles that I'm going to give you the background so that you can learn to apply yourself and put it into daily living and teach your mum and dad so that they're active at 75 and 85 too. They really do work. These principles were adopted from sports and athletes, and they focus on using the bigger muscles of your body. We're both focusing the biceps and the triceps of our upper body, our quads, our glutes, and our hamstrings, as opposed to our back and offloading our back, okay? Because a lot of back injuries come from just loading up the spine, loading up the joints, twisting and turning. I'm not saying that we're not going to twist and turn a little bit, but we're going to use postures and movements that limit that and reduce it completely.
So it's making it more efficient with less effort.
Yeah, more efficient, less effort, bigger muscle, and you're getting a workout. Like this is your gym workout every day. So a lot of us can't get to the gym and things like this. So your kids are your workout. They're getting heavier every day. And if it's not your kids, it's your groceries, it's the bags that you're lifting at the airport, it's all that stuff. Okay. So and why is there no one fit rule for everyone? Is because our bodies change over time. You know, there's our pregnancy journeys. I'm just going to switch that next slide. It's the hormone changes that we have, male and female. I'm not just focusing on females here. What we often have is as we get older and with pregnancy, that lordosis gets bigger, our heads often come forward, and you see us with age shrinking, maybe it might be osteopenia, osteoporosis. Now, these are just things that are going to happen in life no matter what we do. But if we can move well and safely with it, then we can just keep going, you know, stay active. If you don't use it, you lose it. So the principles.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? Do you want to talk about a little bit about the hormones and what that means to the postpartum body?
Yeah.
So obviously in pregnancy, relaxin is what we talk about. So what does that affect in the body?
Yeah, so relaxin relaxes the muscles, tissues, and joints more. It's relaxing the breast so that your breast flow and your milk flow is a lot better, but it does affect all your joints in the body. So you get more load, you get more tension on the muscles and the joints because they don't have that integral support structure of that. We also get those estrogen progesterone changes when you're breastfeeding and or hormonal changes. Progesterone is another hormone that gives us elasticity and movement and tensile bounce in our muscles. Estrogen thickens up our muscles in a good way, giving us strength and helping us to absorb protein and body functions. So as they change over time, then we get changes in our body and our muscles become, we lose muscles and muscle atrophy, we lose protein, our circulation gets reduced with the changes in these hormones, our energy levels. So we want to move efficiently and effectively based on those hormonal changes. Okay.
Great. And I took a prime example of how things can go a little bit haywire because I just had surgery on my elbow.
Yeah.
And it was because I wasn't using my body correctly. It was putting too much force and probably not moving very cleverly.
Yeah.
So I think I'm really curious to learn today how I could have avoided that as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to teach you just three general postures, and then we're going to get moving through that as well. Okay. And there's a lot more under manutention, but I just wanted to give you the nuts and bolts basics.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Perfect. I'll just say here now as well, don't worry about the presentation in the background. It's not very legible, very easily readable, but we will share the presentation for all of you who are interested. So just drop us a DM or a WhatsApp message or whatever you would like. And if you're a part of the Bumpwise community, we'll put it in our Dropbox and you can easily access it from there as well. And we'll show the video, obviously, share the video, obviously, as well. So you can look at it at a later stage and then practice with your baby at home.
Yeah, and we'll also put it as a conjunction with you on our website too. So you've got many access, guys, to come back and look at this. We know you're all busy at this time of day, so we're grateful for your 45 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we get started?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of postures, you'll see on the video clip or when you get it later on, we're talking about bracing, we're talking about bracketing, and we're talking about palms up. These are terms that I use. They're not necessarily the manutention terms, but I wanted to make them daily applicable to us, okay? So what do we mean by bracing? Bracing is just about getting your arms particularly closer to your body and your torso. When we take our arms away from our body, and I see lots of mums carrying their prams out here as they're pushing them along, and I'll demonstrate that later on, we lose a lot of our core strength. Keeping our arms close within that 20-25 degrees helps to activate our lats, our strong muscles, our core muscles more efficiently, our deltoids and our biceps in a better way. So if you can just get the principles, whenever you feel like those back wing arms are coming up, perhaps just bring them in and you'll feel that solid more bracing. So that's what bracing is. And bracing can be on the inside of your thighs too. You can be bracing leaning on that, or you can be bracing and bringing into here, okay? Right. Bracketing is simply, I love bracketing for the fact that we're giving you an extra bracket. You've got these great arms and great legs, let's use them. So instead of leaning out to pick something up where you lean out and you go like this, and it's all the spine that's taking the load and the force, and you may have back pain as a result of it, or it may be created. Simply place your hand down on an object, lean through the object. I'm not sure if we can shift that camera a little bit, but
maybe you can try.
I can turn around. So you're leaning down on an object, putting pressure. If we could just shift it a little bit to the desk where I've got that pressure, yeah, beautiful. And you're leaning down with your hand. Now, if your wrist is sore, you can go to a nice little fist. And when you're in that fist position, you are locking off your wrist and you're getting a far more support, or you could be that flat-handed. So a lot of people might be reaching over to pick up a pen, reaching over to pick up something. There's no bracketing there, no support. It is all my back and weight, particularly that loaded back. I can feel it straight away because I don't move like this anymore. I'll put one bracket down, I'll put two, I'll chat on a bench to someone like this. I might be picking up the pelvis from the table. It could be anything from a 0 feather weight to a weight to 20 kilos. Having that bracketing down, if I was getting down on the floor, I've got that bracketing down here and I'm bracketing on the floor too. Think of your arms as extra supports for you. Okay, and we don't use them enough. And our torsos vary in length, and we've got a lot of weight there that we can support and bracket. As I mentioned, palms up is if you're comfortable, but if you're getting wrist and tendonitis or you've had issues, then go into that fist position. All right, okay. And then we've got from that, we've talked about bracing, we've talked about bracketing. Now, I just like the term palms up. It's not a manutention term, but we are a lot stronger when we do things with our palms up like this, holding, lifting, carrying, because we're using our biceps muscles, which are quite strong, with a bit of help and support from our triceps, okay? So whether you're further away from your body, we try not to go too far. We always say, if you love your load, come in close. Or if you're here, that palms up is really, really more effective than palms down. And you'll notice this in sports and martial arts. They will often start palms up with that lovely fist that I've said, and the power will come as they come through range. So a lot of these postures and positionings I'm giving to you.
Being recorded.
Oh, that's nice. No, in the background. A lot of these positions and postures that I'm talking about are functional. They're applied to sport. Start noticing in your sport. You start with your palm up in your tennis and you follow through. You have those movements. You're swimming, palms up, and then you pull through. You know, you'll see the squat and the weightlifter's position that we're talking about. These are all sporting positions. We're encouraging you to use the muscles of your body and offload your joints. Okay, all right? So bearing that in mind, just to recap, we've got some bracing, keeping your arms close to your body and not too far away, because then you get that core support. We've got bracketing where you lean out and support one or two hands, whatever you like. Could even bracket on your thighs. You see cricketers and people playing with great brackets on their thighs. You could bracket on your elbow down into that position. In fact, we encourage that toileting position in a women's health or men's health capacity, sitting on the toilet, bracketing through your thighs and being supported. And that helps your body to relax into certain positions as well.
Yeah, because you're stabilizing, you're helping to stabilize.
You're
So your core doesn't
stabilizing.
have to do all the work.
Yeah, you're stabilizing. So they are those basic positions. So now let's go on from that. Now I'm going to talk about the lower body positions that I love to use all the time. Bench is one of them. And you can bench from here, you can bend, you can bend. So you might think that's a squat for most for most people. When you do that, you've got your back, you know, in your natural curve, your bottom behind, your knees soft, and always try and either squat, bench, whatever you want to call it, whether you're at the gym or whether you're doing activity where your knees are not in front of your toes. When your knees are in front of your toes, you're putting a lot of load on your knees. We want the knees behind the toe, particularly the big toe, and aiming to that second to third toe. So I'm in a low bench here. I could go even lower if I wanted to. I could range up here, or I could just be in a little bench through here. I'm using my quads, I'm using my hamstrings, and I'm keeping them nice and strong. I'm not using my back. And we're going to apply these principles to your prams, your pushes, and everything else like that. Okay, so there's the bench, and those pictures are on our videos. You can go back and have a look in the recording later on. Weightlifters, you saw me go into that bench. I went down into a picking up position. So imagine you could pick up your baby from this position. You could pick up a load. I'm bracketed with my arms out to my thighs, and my thighs are supporting me, and I come up through that position. So just think of a weightlifter. They come down to that weightlifter's literally like that, and then they come up, and then they use their legs, and they're powerful and they're strong. Okay, a lot of ladies going back, particularly in our Asian culture, this is a fantastic position to be in.
Yeah.
They're very relaxed. Their perineums in a really good support. Their pelvis is supported. So we're just taking the traditional movement and applying it to daily movement. Okay. The other one that I really, really love, I call it the nice position. So we'll go to a side lunge. I'll come back to the nice. The side lunging, what we're trying to do when we talk about lunging, whether it be forwards and backwards lunging, left or right leg, doesn't matter to you, forwards or backwards lunge, whether we're going to do a side lunge, left or right, we're trying to avoid that twisting concept. Twisting is the biggest thing that I find that winds up backs, particularly as we get older, when we're hormonal, when we're tired, and we're lifting and loading up with kids. Okay? So if you can take the principles of always having your head facing your feet in the same direction. So whether you're sitting in an office chair and someone comes in the door, maybe one of your habits is that you go, oh, hello, and you chat away and you're here. If you just turned where your head and feet are facing that person, be it the restaurant or cafe or at work, and come back with your pivot chair and turn around, you're not twisting your spine all the time.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that we don't twist our spine. It is a movement that is part of our daily life. But if we can think about reducing that over time, particularly as we get older and hormonal changes, we're not winding up the joints and wearing them out over time, okay? So head and shoulders together. So feet, left and right. We're moving those left and right side lunging, okay? We've got a forwards and backwards. We might be pushing the pram. We might be pushing a load. forwards and backwards. We might be walking with our trolley at the airport with our side trolley, you know, our pulley trolley, and be walking along that. That's a forward and backward lunge with my bracing occurring because my arm's close to my body. I haven't got the trolley out here or I haven't got it behind me. Yeah, so simple principles like that. All right. Okay, let's go on then. Knight's position, one of my wonderful favorites. And I love this because I taught my 3-year-old kids this, they're now teens. I teach my mum who's 80 and she can still get up and down the floor, okay? So getting up and down onto the floor, one knee behind you, one knee bent. Here we are, we got that on there. Into that Knight's position. Perhaps I'll turn side on for that Knight's position. Now, how do you remember these? Just think of someone being knighted. They're getting knighted left and right, or someone proposing to you is the way I sort of think, and that was many years ago. Or you proposing to someone, okay? Here is your Knight's position. The key to the Knight's position, whether it's your right, left, or your left leg, is that you have your toes tucked under. When your toes are tucked under behind you, you're bracketing through your knee, you're pushed back through your back foot, and you can come up. And I did that slowly, I'll do it again. So coming back down, even toes are tucked under, here we are, push through that back leg, lean forward, bracket, and push up. The biggest challenge that I see where people, young or older, they're down here, their foot's turned under, I can't get up, I can't do what you just did. Your power comes from your toes turned under. Power, push down through those toes and up. If you take it back to when you were a kid, 7 or 8 in those running races at school, are you ready? Are you set? There's your set with your back foot and you push off and you've got that lovely push off, okay? So please share that Knight's position with your elderly parents. You know, as long as they can get up and down off the floor, they remain independent. If they have a fall, they can know that they can get up and get up safely. And that could be with your right or left leg. So we're going to apply those now to babies, just because for the sake of today, we're talking about babies and postures and movements, and we're going to apply it to some equipment, of which Elise will help us out with some of the equipment as we go.
Okay.
All right.
Amazing. Where are we starting?
All right. So let's go the capsule first. Should we go capsule because it's just here? All right. So with the capsules, you know, my kids are 14, 15, they're older now, so it's been a while, but it always still irks me the way people hold capsules. So they might have it behind here, and you've got your capsule with your hand this way, okay? And capsules are designed to transport a baby from A to B over a shorter period of time. But what I do see, because of taxis and difficulties with the prams, that they're using carriers or the capsules for long periods of time. People even go shopping for 20, 40 minutes or an hour with these capsules, okay?
Because there's nowhere to put it. If you've arrived in a taxi, where do you put it in the shopping?
Where do you put it? So I want you to lift and move with it carefully. So ideally, if you use the principles that I like with the palm up, like that, because you're nice and strong. I'm using my biceps. I'm getting a workout. I could even do some bicep curls if I wanted to, waiting for that taxi or waiting for that to start. So here I am here. Now, if you feel comfortable with your baby facing that way, if they're a bit younger, perhaps you want, of course, turn it around. You can see their face and you've got them here. I haven't got the capsule out here. I haven't got it in front here. And bear in mind, when we add that load, we're adding a lot more weight into here. So keep that capsule close with that, you know, that bracketing principle and that bracing principle towards you, okay? With that, go into your forward backward lunge or a slight Knights and drop it down. So come forward, pick it up, and then, okay? Right? So if we go from the side here you've got forward backward lunge, pick up your capsule, or you can come around in a side lunge, pick up your capsule, turn it around and come around forward. So if you take the principle of loving your load, be it your suitcase, your baby in a capsule, come close, stay close to your load and surround it. If you've got your capsule in front of you like this, if you feel comfortable, you double handle it, come up, then you go into the single handle, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, sometimes when babies are heavy, I say, listen, go down into that squat position, low squat, and come up and hold like this. And I used to hug my capsule when my kids were heavier because I'm stronger, loving my load and hugging my load. Okay, and a short distance from there to take them down, to take my arms around, and I've got that. Now, as pointed out by Elise at the Pram Fox, a lot of the handles are angled so that you can hold this differently. So a great way to hold is to tuck your hand under, hold the capsule base here so it's nice and firm and strong, You've got it locked into the nape of your elbow, and now you've got another way of holding that capsule and really strong.
Doing that.
Yeah, it's really strong and great. So that's great. You can see that hold there, okay? It's a little bit more challenging when you've got a square line like this, but you can still do it, ladies, and you've still got that load with your left and right handed, and you've got a secure hold on this baby, okay? And then you can turn it around in front, lower it down, bend your knees. Here we go into that squat position, and down you go.
You've integrated on the moves that you showed us earlier.
Yeah, they just really great. Yeah, to do that. So we'll go from there and we'll just move on from here. Right. Yes, we have a question down.
So after delivering vaginally or by
Sorry,
cesarean,
can we just wait 1 second? I'll give you the mic.
sorry,
That's all right.
So after delivering vaginally or with cesarean section, when do you find it the right time to actually lift this, car seat or the capsule?
Great question. Look, it takes a good 12 weeks for your intra-abdominal muscle and that scarring tissue to heal with in a C-section, that is, or for any surgery that they've had any surgery. I would advise you to be seeing physio before that, so you're rehabbing well, be it vaginally and or C-section, and then you can progress on. Now, mums are going to be lifting, I can give you this advice, but mums are going to practically be lifting their babies and they're going to get on with life, and some don't have help. So you have to apply these principles safely. In terms of vaginal and or C-section, your baby should be enough weight for you to be lifting at the moment. So carrying the weight of your baby as that baby progresses in grams and kilos each week. So you are getting stronger. Your kids and your babies are your biggest gym workout.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even need to go to the gym. You've got your beautiful babies with you as they get bigger. I'll just take a little chat here. As they get bigger, you might end up holding those nice and tight. Hey, they love it. They're either in their baby sling, which we'll talk about in a minute, and you might choose to do 5 squats every morning with your baby. You might choose to be holding your baby close to your body and either not too far away, doing some lunges with your baby. You might choose to be doing some overhead work. So you're getting stronger and fitter using that bench squat and movements there with your baby, keeping your load close. Don't have your load far away. Remember the principles, love your load and keep it close. And these are our precious kids if you're talking about a child lifting. So take your time, you're progressing slowly. Have your abdominal wall checked, come in, we check your diastasis gap, we check your pelvic floor, and that's a huge component to this. And then you can progress on with that. But in general, I'd be a bit cautious lifting a capsule with the baby's load if you're under 12 weeks and have not done some physiotherapy work and had things checked, because that is a heavy load to carry for someone under that, particularly if there's been complications in your pregnancy. So be careful. I guess the one principle that I can share with you is that if you go to lift and lift a load, be it a suitcase, your baby or anything, if you go to lift and go, oh, that's heavy, and you can feel that closure of that glottis. Oh, that's heavy. It probably is. It's too heavy. Don't think you've then got to go and carry, because that's when the problems happen. So you should be able to engage your core, which we teach you as physios, lift your load, breathe well, and not have to breath hold. If you have to brace and breath hold and lock off on the chest and there's tension, that load is too heavy.
So we've moved on from the capsule.
Yep.
We know how to safely carry that. We know how to lift heavy weights. And there was this warning as well from Daniel to say, these movement techniques are all well and good, but you also should be seeing a physio to be looking at your diastasis, to be assessing your pelvic floor recovery, to also help you work with your core, because ultimately the core is what keeps us all upright.
This sort of part of it that keeps you upright and going. You want to be strong and you want to be active.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Okay.
All right.
So we're going
to move on to prams, because prams are always a big one. Okay.
Fantastic.
So we're going to get some prams out here. Oops. There we go. All righty. So as I said, these prams are available with Pram Fox. Just get in touch with Deb and Elise. Now, and if I need any sort of technical help with that, we're going to call in Elise for this. But basically with prams, I just wanted to point out, what is the right height that you should be looking at to be pushing a pram, to be changing at the table, to be working at safely? And the right height is between your waist, okay, which is at the top of your hips. Your waist is not where your waist goes in. It's actually the top of the hips. So if you
Okay,
take your hands
that's
and you feel the bones, that's
good
the
advice.
waist.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Because a lot of people think their waist is up here.
Yeah.
So between their waist and where you fold in your groin at your true hip, that's where you fold. That is the
Where you
safe zone of
hinge.
where it's about a 10 to 12 cm safe zone to work in.
Mhm.
Okay. On that. So you'll find your kitchen benches in a standard kitchen bench or wherever you're working are
Should be
within,
that
should be
height,
within that
okay. Mhm.
height and zone. Okay. So that's where I want you to work safely. And therefore, if you can have your pram with your hands sort of around about that mark, okay, if it's a little bit higher, but you should never have the shoulders hitching up or being forward. So I'm working through that waist. So ideally you want prams that are adjustable on their handles. And this one's a lovely one. You can adjust it up or down and you push it here, I think, is it? Push it there? Push that, yep, push it up. And you can then squeeze here, really easy, and push it down. I just didn't know how to do it on that one. So pushing it up or down, which is great.
Nice.
So it means that shorter people, taller people, or longer torsos and dads could be readjusting that.
Okay,
Yep.
just to clarify now, this is the correct height for you, or do you feel that this is a little bit too high
This
for
is a
you?
little bit too high for me. Look, I'm not that tall, although I look taller. I'm only 5'3", so 165. So that's a little bit tall for me, but it's about
Mhm.
my body height. So if I was up here like that, that would be
Yeah.
a fantastic
For
height
me,
for
it's
me.
probably
It would be
the perfect
perfect for
height.
you.
Okay.
Okay, so I would look for a pram with a little bit lower.
Yeah.
I know as a mum, instinctively we put our hands on a pram like that and you
Mhm.
go to push. If you go back to what I was saying to you earlier, if you can take your hands midway where their biceps and the muscles are working for support, that's a great hand hold. Even better is that bicep hold and you move like
Wow,
that. And
okay.
I got used to doing that. It
I
was
never see anyone.
yeah, I
Yes,
know.
that's
Not unless they've
perfect.
been taught by manual tension and manual
Yeah.
handling. And a compromise I found a lot was this. Okay. So I found up and down was great. I've got power to move, I've got direction, and I feel
Amazing.
comfortable, although I did a lot of hand holding like this.
Yeah.
Now, it's not just applying this to a pram. I go to the shopping center and you'll see me pushing my trolleys. My trolleys are one up and one down, and my trolleys are generally at the side because I can then move them
Yeah.
left or right without my elbows leaving my body too far.
We'll all be moving through cold storage and actually the streets of Singapore now,
Doing
looking at
it
people's
differently,
hand holding
and I'll be
seeing who has
watching
the
you.
next
I'll be
thing.
watching you. Okay,
Love
on
it.
that. The other thing I want to point out with prams too is often our stride length, our gait, how we walk is different. So some people have a small walking distance, some people have a big. And one of the wonderful features on this pram is you can adjust this forward and backwards so that you can get that better stride length and take it away. So lift it up and down.
Love
So
it.
now if I wanted to go faster, I wanted to go for a run or a jog, I've got there and I can move with that run and
Nice.
jog and not hit my
Without bumping
carriage.
into the.
And that's a big thing as well. And if
Mhm.
you think about it, that run, jog, and movement, I'm doing a forward, backward lunge. Here I am with my forward, backward lunge. If I wanted to turn the pram, I would go on a sideways turn with my little side lunges. They don't have to be big and do that. I would come and face my load perhaps, and I might turn it around like that. I'm going to face my load and I'm going to turn it around. If I'm going to take my baby and the capsule out, I'm facing my load again. I could go forwards or backwards. I'm leaning through. So once again, my feet and my head are facing the same direction. I'm not twisting down here, or I'm not back here and twisting, which I see with mums all the time. And that repetitively loads up your spine and causes problems with that. There we go. Thanks, Deb. On that. So this is a great little pram that's adjustable for all of these things. And you've got the height adjustables as well. So for the capsules, this is where Elise is the pro. Sorry, I called you Deb earlier, the pro. So we've now got our capsule up here, baby's facing forward. You've got all the movements there. You can come around to the sides. You can be in front, squeeze that out and lift it out, if I've got it correctly. Those buttons, sorry, wrong ones. They've changed over time.
It takes a while to get
takes a
to know
while.
your pram.
Yeah.
And so,
And
yeah.
that's where you need Deb and Elise to guide you and educate you on
Absolutely.
that. Okay, so you've got your pram. I've taken my prints. I've got my child here. Once again, I've lowered my load safely down my body. I've gone into a squat. May want to go down on the floor into my Knight's position and check my baby and make sure everything's okay. Come up from my Knight's position. Here I am. Lift up my baby. Choose to go into my mother and child class. And here I am, and off I go. All right, okay. So these are great prams. Look for adaptable features for heights where your elbows are close to your body, that you're not too far away, that you've got adjustable handles, you've got adjustable stride length, that it's light in weight. You don't want to spend a lot of money on prams if you can. So you want one, you can't get one pram that fits all,
No,
okay?
yeah,
One pram that
unfortunately.
fits all, but you want a good quality pram, okay, that you
Yeah.
can move well with, get on a flight with, that's not too heavy. Yes, they do cost a bit more, but you're not paying a little amount for 5 prams. Pay a decent amount of money, get a good pram
Yeah.
that has all these features.
Just saying,
Okay.
we are not earning any commissions here.
No, I'm not.
We're
No,
just
I'm not.
genuinely thinking
Yeah.
we're practical. We're
Yeah.
over 50, so
Yeah. I
we've
want to
all
go on
had
my
kids.
holidays, and I want you to have
Exactly.
holidays too. So I want you to save some money here.
Amazing.
Investing, I would rather pay more and get a really multi-diversitable pram that can see my kids through the next 5 to 8 years in their pram than have 3 prams that you've got to line up that don't last and
Yeah.
are not going to last your body.
Can
Okay?
I ask you a question too? Is, I'm holding this pram. When I choose the right height for me, am I looking at this being almost at a 90-degree angle to have more power to steer
Yeah,
that pram?
90 to about 130.
Okay.
Okay, within that range. Most of all, I really don't want to see mums coming along like this, go up the hill and up the pram. See when my
Yeah,
elbows
yeah,
are
yeah,
out
yeah.
here? Just keeping them in here if you can, working within that height adjustable range and moving within that height adjustable
Mhm.
range there. So
Okay,
it's super
perfect.
important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great,
I wanna-
amazing. Are we moving on
Yeah,
to the
we're going to
next?
show you the next pram for that very reason of the different applications that we can do. Okay. So this is a wonderful little lightweight pram. Love this pram as well, guys. But it doesn't have the height adjustable features of the handle. So that's probably a little bit better in height for me because I'm a little bit shorter and I can move it there. And I like the width because it's within my shoulder length. It feels more comfortable, but it doesn't have the adjustable leg length where if I wanted to move and stride out with it,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have all the features of the other. But if that's going to do the job for you, it's lighter weight, you travel a lot, perhaps that's going to be good for you or something like
What
that.
I noticed too is the baby is quite low down.
Mhm.
So can you demonstrate maybe how to pick that baby up? Because this
Yeah.
is now, I'm guessing this is for later on.
Mhm.
We don't no longer have a newborn. This is something that you would maybe use for traveling, is
Yeah.
how I would see
Yeah.
it. So
Just
how
want the
would you be
brakes.
picking up that baby without doing too much damage to your back?
Yep.
What
First
are
of
the
all,
safe strategies?
brakes are always on. As a physio, we're always going to tell you to have
Yes.
those brakes on and make sure you're in a good position because wheelchairs or prams have the brakes on. I would come down into my forward backward lunge, come forward. So I'm coming forward with my body, come down, pick up my child, love my load to me, pick up my baby, and off we would go here. All right. I'm placing my child back, well supported, come into the front if I wanted to. Down in my forward backward lunge, come forward as I come forward with my lunge, placing them down. If that wasn't comfortable for me, I might choose that side lunge that we talked about with a little bit of forwardness, making sure I'm loving my load. Come down, pick up, support the head, and up we go through here, and you've got your baby through there as well.
Amazing, thank you.
Okay, so you might, when you're learning these principles, you might find them a bit rigid and I've got to think about it, but they become part of your daily
Yes.
movement. You wouldn't even know that I was moving like that with that when we come down, making it very natural and coming down and through.
And I think
Okay.
this is something, just saying now here, I think this is so useful, and I hope you finding it useful as well. But this is something also that moms should be teaching everybody who's caring for their baby.
Yeah.
You have your, I don't know, your confinement nanny who are often, in advanced age. Also your helpers, all of them need to protect their bodies because injury happens so fast, and then you're out for 6 months.
Well, a lot of the injuries, Johanna, are repetitive little incidences
Yes.
that add up and it's the final straw. It's not often that one incident where you lifted a load and go snap. It's
Yeah.
often the 20 repetitions you've
The
done
wear
that
and
day, the wear
tear.
and tear.
Mhm.
So what we're trying to prevent wear and tear here. I always say to clients, you invest so much money in your car and your home, invest in yourself, buy great equipment that's adjustable, that sees you through the right, and get some good education on it, okay?
Yeah.
And then teach your parents who are getting older about this. I really want to get onto the change table because we've got a great change table set up here that didn't exist when my children were younger. I'm just going to take that break off to move it. Beautiful. Coming through here. So we're just going to shift things around. We haven't disappeared, guys.
Okay, wait, bear with us for a little while. We're going
To shift through
have a
here.
different setup for the changing table.
Yeah.
Need to move the.
If you've got any questions, send them through to us. Okay. Can you see us all okay here? We're all good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. So in my day, going back into the dinosaur days, as my kids tell me, we had changed mats like this. And I know they're really sold a lot still. They're lightweight. You can even blow some of them up. You can wash them down, and they're easy to put anywhere. I do not like these. I don't recommend them. They are not safe to a certain extent. And why? Because they slide and move. And the last thing you want is your child getting bigger, sliding off that, or this sliding off a height and a surface and things like that. So what we have at Pram Fox is absolutely wonderful. I absolutely love this. And once again, you know, this is not a promo. This is just practical information I'm giving you, okay? This is super. It's made of a material which has non-slip to it. It's got natural adaptive sides at the side. To use. It's not going to slide off any surface. I cannot move that whatsoever. You could have it on the top of a washing machine. You could have it on the top of the dining room table. You could put this on the bath floor. You can spray it down afterwards if it gets wet or soiled. You can dry it down. You know, once your kids are older, the quality of this, you could on-sell it if you wanted to. So changing on the baby on the table.
Yeah, can I just add something to it? This is obviously very heavy. This is not something that you will be moving from one room to the other. You have a dedicated changing space.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that, like for example, you are stuck in the living room and your changing table is all the way 3 flights up.
Mm-hmm.
What is the safest way to change your baby? Changing your baby on the bed, maybe, and what postures do I use for that as well?
Yeah.
I know this is going off on a tangent,
Yeah,
but if you
that's
wouldn't
okay.
mind, then
Yeah.
also
And I'm
explain
going to
that.
interject, and we have a question.
Yes.
Which would also, I'm just got another question saying, can you also show us how to best change diapers or clothes on the floor? I don't have a change table.
We're going there.
And do these on the do these on the floor mat and so on.
Okay. So
I sort of anticipated your question there.
Yeah, well done. And we'll get there.
Intuition.
I want to just do one step before I get to that step.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're working at if you have had the privilege of a change table, I didn't. So I did a lot of changing on the floor and a lot of changing on the bed. But remember what we said, that change table should be within your waist height to your hip height, and you should be leaning into it. If it's solid, lean into it and support your back. This is another form of bracketing. It's not just about putting the hands out. Use your body and lean into a solid surface if it's solid, okay? With those knees bent and now my legs are doing the work, and check that height. So it doesn't have to be a standard expensive change table. There's plenty around. You could use, as I mentioned, the top of a washing machine, not on obviously, in case you want to put the kids to sleep with the vibrations. That did work for me occasionally as well. You could use the kitchen bench. You could use anywhere that's safe and sturdy to do that. I had a change table that I bought. It was too high. Much to my husband's horror, at the $1,000 we spent, I took off the legs. I took about 4 inches off the legs for it to work for my range. And likewise, you can raise the legs up on very good fixed bottoms. Okay, so we're talking about here. Now, if you're going down to the ground, I would still use one of these on the ground if the table is never the option, or we can use the other, but I would put a non-slip mat under that other one because I'm really worried about slipping.
Absolutely,
okay, so if we're taking this down to the floor, and we can pretend we can put this bathtub in front of us, coming through. You'll see the way our nights move through that, okay? So here's my little bathtub with my beautiful little baby in here. I love this here. What I would be doing, I would be in my knees bent position. This is great under the knees. Ladies, my knees are not hurting. So have it under your knees. It's a really good support. If you haven't got something like that, you can buy from Decathlon. They have a really good knee pad that you can put underneath there. So put underneath your knees. You could turn around and sit down on here, or come down low and wash your baby and look after your baby here. Coming down, then picking up your baby into that tub from here, picking up there, probably nice and wet. Come around then, and I would step back and then place on my mat and table.
Nice.
So I've loved my load. I've come into my night's position. I've got my baby down here. I don't want to see mums doing this. Please don't do this. Your back is not going to last a week like this at all.
Yeah.
You know, come down. If you don't feel comfortable in that nights and you've got this lovely space in your nights here and this gap here, go onto 2 knees. And if your knees are hurting, put a pad underneath your knees there. And if you find it more comfortable, sit back and lay back on your knees if you like that. And come forward. I'm still bracketing. Do what you got to do. Bring the baby to you. The more you move your baby, remember they're learning skills or motor skills as well. Don't be afraid to move them out of a certain position. Love your load. It's in close to my body here, picking up my baby, coming up here, holding my baby. I'm going to bracket through my knee, turn my toe under, and up we come with my baby up here, right?
Amazing.
So likewise, coming down, just reverse it, come down, hold their head. I'm bracketing into my thigh is stopping my leg going out, and I'm coming down, and here we are here. Okay.
And I sometimes think this is a much safer way to actually bathe your baby. I know we often have now bathtubs that are on a stand, but some of them don't fit into your shower.
Yeah.
And I think the worst thing that you can do is have to carry your full bathtub
Yeah.
around the whole flat.
Mhm.
Not only, you know, risk of spillage and slipping and all of that,
too
but what
heavy.
that does to your
Too
back,
heavy.
especially postpartum.
And
Yes.
thanks for mentioning that too, because there's no way I'd say to any mum to lift a bath weight of water off the ground.
Yes.
I simply wouldn't do it, and I'm fairly strong. What I would do, I'm on the bathroom floor, tip it out, come
Yeah.
from here. Once you've settled your baby and your baby is in the cot or on the bed safe, I would then just literally tip it out, empty it out, okay, and then it's time to pack it away.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know, don't
perfect.
try and lift from the ground. Have you got a suggestion? Great, share it with us.
Some bathtubs have plugs in the bottom now, so you
Even
can
better.
drain it without lifting.
As I
Yeah.
said, this one is 100 years old.
Yeah, it's great. Well, that's what we had 100 years ago, right? So coming down here. We just had the kitchen sink. So you can just undo that, and let it out. Please do not lift that load. It's too much. And you're doing this 3 to 5 times a day. Lighten your load, keep your loads close to you, and apply these principles, and everything will work out. Okay, so picking that up there, take it away, teach your helper, store it away there. Okay, come down, picking up your baby, as we said. There we go, holding here. You could then, you know, pop that out the way. Can I just pass that to you there? Night's position, up we come here. So that then leads me to, I wanted to demonstrate the baby carriers, because that's a big one with baby carriers. I think we've got a little pause. Yeah.
We've got some questions here.
Okay, great. Love the
Is it okay
questions.
if I sit down cross-legged on the floor and reach forward to change baby's diaper?
Okay, so let's do it. Let's work it out. Let's problem solve, okay? Because there's a pros
By
and
the
cons to
way,
that.
I'd love to show this beautiful nappy.
Oh,
A
yeah.
quick shout out to Cloth Nappies. Pink Peony is a Bumpwise mom who makes these gorgeous diapers,
Yeah,
and they're just amazing.
they're great.
So
Wash and
yeah.
ready to go.
Yes, this is going to be the same, similar question. I usually place the change pad on the bed. Similar question as above, but I usually place the change pad on the bed and I sit down to change diapers. What's the best way to sit and do this? So sitting on the bed and or on the floor.
Okay, so let's go from the bed, okay? I'll just place, if we're going to have to
Yeah.
adjust that camera, let's take our change table up onto our bed. This is a very, very high bed, obviously. We haven't got anything in between. Maybe a chair. Yeah, that's a good option as a chair height. So we'll place the chair here. Right, let's
Yeah.
just say that. We're improvising here, ladies. That would be the,
So you can go this way.
that, I would go that way. I would go, no, she sits on the bed, she doesn't, okay. All right.
Cross-legged kind of.
Yeah, and I'll show you why, okay? So let's pretend this is a bed. There's a bed going this way. This is the side of the bed where we had it here, or if you had the baby that way, it doesn't really matter, okay? Coming in, let's get our little person, little baby. Yeah, there we go, on there. So here's the bed, it's all fixed. I would place a knee pad underneath my knees because my knees would not handle this 20 times a day. All right, so I'd have something underneath my knees. This is my bed height. My baby's on here, and this is how I would change a baby on the bed. I would never, ever recommend you changing like this, leaning over like that, for the fact that eventually you're going to end up with back, neck, and shoulder pain for sure. If you're down in this position like that, remember I said to bracket, I've got either my thumbs up or wrist, whichever you're comfortable. I'm around my baby, and then I'm going to pick up my baby in a squat and go from here, yeah? I'm on that. So I hope that sort of breaks down the principles of that. Now, if you're sitting next to or alongside, I suppose, I imagine if this is the bed here, and I imagine the lady is this way, possibly on a
No,
chair.
she would be sitting on the
Sitting
bed.
on the
It's
floor.
literally, we're
On
gonna
the
we're
bed
gonna on
or
the,
the floor.
okay,
So we'll,
yeah.
Maybe she can answer us, but
Mhm.
is this it? Or
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like this, like up like this or
Cross-legged.
something like
So we
this.
could
Cross-legged,
sit
yeah.
cross-legged. So
Yes,
I'm-
I'll go to the floor and I'll show you the floor, but I would not recommend sitting on your bed and twisting. You just
Yeah.
don't have the balance, you don't have the support. It can be unsafe for your baby if they move quicker, but it's just not good for your spine. You've got a softer surface, you're leaning into a softer surface. So please just modify it where the baby is on the bed and you're at the side of the bed and well supported, and you're leaning into that solid bed and working that way. Or if you wanted to put a chair, you know, if your bed is that way and you've got a chair there, if you're finding that you're needing a chair for support, no problems, work it this way if you wanted to. Or the baby might be this way, no problems, you can change your baby like that, but I would not be sitting on a bed and doing it that way. Now I'll show you the floor option. Alrighty, these are great questions, peoples. Let's go here. Okay. So we've got the baby on the change table, change mat on the floor here. I've come down into my knight's position. Once again, I'd have a cushion underneath my feet. I'd either come down if my knees are really good, or I would be in that knight's position. For me personally, I would do my changing here, whatever I needed to do, and then picking up your baby, coming up from here. So to sit cross-legged, you were asking me, could I do that cross-legged? So if you think about it, if you're cross-legged and you're here, that is one big distance away from you, from your baby. It's going to put a lot of load on your lower back, no matter how flexible you are. And eventually it could sort of give your knees and your hips a little bit of an issue. So I would not recommend it. It's not ergonomically balanced and stable, to be honest, right? So just by altering that, where you have got either that 2-point kneel, right? If that's more comfortable, and here and there, or better, left or right knights, coming around and taking your baby that way, pushing up through here and coming up through that way. Does that answer the
I have
question for
to
this
say-
lady?
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so I would not
Perfect.
encourage cross-legged sitting on the bed or on the floor. It's not good for your spine, your pelvis, and you're possibly going to end up with coccyx or tailbone discomfort from that as well.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Any further?
Yeah, okay, I think we've covered it then. Good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
So I
you.
wanted to go to, before we sort of wrap it up, because I'm conscious of time and disappearing.
Actually,
Baby.
we have, oh yeah, 10
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, baby, good time flies when you're having fun. Okay, babies in the carriers, please. And we're going to ask Elise to be our little demo model here.
Do you want the big or the small baby?
We'll go the little baby. Baby carriers are always a big one, and there's lots out on the market. I do like the Manduka. I do like elements of the Ergo Baby, and they've all got pros and cons, and it's what fits your baby. I went through several with my kids. Some of them like them, some of them don't. It's all about positioning. So
And
we're
this
going to.
one is,
This one's the Ergo,
Ergo.
a light Ergo, the latest Ergo, right? Okay, now we've popped it on, but we're going to show you how and why we popped it on like this. Good. So first things first, whatever carrier you do, make sure you have a nice, good waist supporting. It should be on the waist. And make sure with guys I often see the males with them really, really low, you know, because they wear their trousers a bit lower, but check out the waist and hips, okay, with a nice padded support, because that gives you back support. Get some nice, really padded and wider straps for the shoulders, because Smaller straps will put a lot more load here and will put a lot of load on your upper traps and possibly lead to neck and shoulder pain. Use a lightweight fabric as well, particularly in Singapore, because we don't want to be in heat. Just standing up there, Elise, beautiful, with your night's position, well done. Now, with your babies, okay, the newborns and up to 3 or 4 months old, we would certainly encourage to be in this head position. And the main thing is that you are comfortable and you can kiss the top of their head. That way you can monitor them. They're in a good part of your chest and cavity. They can breathe well. They can breathe well. You can have their head just slightly turned to the left or right, and you've got a good monitor and watch. So please make sure your husbands do that, because as I said, husbands always drop really low. Now, years ago, we would say at around 3 to 4 months, turn the baby around. However, things have changed and we've upgraded and ideas are always changing. We encourage the baby to still remain facing you, even at 4 to 6 months old. Be mindful that carriers can only take a legal weight of about 9 kg. So most babies when forward. So they can only take a weight of about 9 kgs when forward for safety reasons. So we encourage you to keep those babies turned to you, but just angle their heads a little bit differently as they get older, where you can drop the capsule, so the sling down a little bit. Angle their head a little bit. We'll use a bigger baby to show you to make it realistic, and they can still be really happy. They only get frustrated in our carriers when they can't look around and see, because they want to integrate with the world around them. So by being in a good position, you're supporting your baby in a great position and their ergonomics and their development, and you're looking after yourselves, because as our kids get heavier, you can be carrying, a very heavy baby, and when they really get to that point where they're over that 9 kilos, we recommend them putting on the back, putting on the back and carrying on the back in a different capsule or carrier rather. So doing that. So make sure it fits your baby well around their pelvis, great for their hips, and then you can turn their head left or right. They can see there as well. Okay.
Can I ask you a question,
Yeah.
Danielle? And I definitely used the carrier all the time. Having 3 kids, my last one was always in the carrier because I had to cook, I had to pick up the kids, all of that. Is there a recommended length of time that a baby should be or shouldn't be in a carrier, for both for the mom's posture and alignment and the strain potentially on her body, as well as the baby?
I
Any
think
thoughts
that
on that?
whatever parameters they gave us, from an ergonomics perspective and physio, I would turn around and say, listen, the weight to the baby varies, obviously, your fitness and your body ability varies, and what you're doing. I generally find 45 minutes is probably enough in a carrier at a time before allowing that child to get out, stretch, move around, and offload your back a fair bit. Elise, do you have any parameters that you would suggest in terms of carrying?
Yeah, they did a cool study not that long ago, particularly around the postpartum period. So in that first 3 months, the study was on preemie babies, but they said it can be expanded to full-term babies. And it was more around
Ergonomics of weight, or
just in a day, how
In a
many
day.
hours the baby's in the
Right.
carrier. So
Yeah.
it is a good idea to yeah, thank you. Yeah.
it's a cumulative
Yeah,
hours.
so the cumulative hours can actually clock up to be ginormous, 8 hours plus. But to give the baby some postural change, make sure that they haven't slumped in the baby carrier in
Yeah.
the 45 minutes. This is the same for the car seat. Make sure their posture hasn't slumped, and just keep adjusting them.
Yeah, and keep it down. And if you think about some women in different countries, literally all day, or let's say Africa or the Middle Eastern countries, they're carrying a baby all around all day for great distances. So I imagine it's just about allowing that baby movement, stretch, lengthening their muscles and strength-wise, and offloading you a little bit. But if your baby is secure and you've got a good low and a good positioning, you should be okay. But do check on that. I wouldn't go for extended periods of time, really, particularly in our hot, warm climates here.
So
Thanks,
we've got a
Elise.
question that actually leads into this. So it says here, my baby is 7 kg, likes to be carried in my arm without a carrier, and this causes shoulder pain, especially because I'm only comfortable carrying on the left side. What is the best way to do this without straining the shoulder?
Okay, well, first thing I'd say is invest in that baby hip bump support. Okay, I don't know if you guys sell them. Do you guys sell them? Great. So that's great. So those bumper hip supports, they're a little curvature of foam that fits around the waist that can be put on left or right. We don't have one in here today. And your baby and toddler can sit on that, and you've got one arm around them and to hold them. In doing that, I would vary that from the right and to the left, because right-handed mummies are potentially going to put a baby on the left because we are stronger on this diagonal. Left-handed mummies are going to usually go to that way. So what I was doing with my kids, I had one the same. I would go right, I would go left, and I'd even go central. And central was great because they can put their legs around this way. And as they get older, they can face the front, and I've got a really good grip on them in the front there. So the main thing is that they are sitting on that front, but you've got to really make sure that you support them whilst they're in that
because
front
they don't
position.
have a harness. They're literally just sitting on that wedge.
Yeah.
What's the price point of these, Elise, off the top of your head?
For
hip
the hip
seats?
seats, about
Between $200 to $300.
$200 to $300.
Okay.
And they're
And they're used. What weights do they carry? Is what I wonder if it's a good investment. But I used it for quite a while. I never thought of putting it in the front, but you're absolutely right. I think we have a preferred side, and then we're always completely out of alignment. And being out of alignment also means that you're not using your core effectively, and a lot of these things that really can cause damage to our bodies. So, you know, putting them in the middle, you're much more centered, and I think you have your core available to yourself.
And don't forget, as they're getting older and they still want to be with you, put them in the back. Have a great back capsule at the back. You know, they're in the back there, they're in their little capsules, they're over the shoulder. You know, if we've got it behind us here, sort of, sorry, I'm holding the baby at this point, but at the capsule here, and they can see over the shoulder, and they really love that too. So, you know, give them that space to move around and be with you as well on that. But I really would always encourage your babies to be a little bit more active, to be a little bit more independent. You know, I had a back injury years ago, and this is what took me into manutention. And a good physio friend of mine, because one of my children never left my side for 24 hours, said to me, I am doing you a disservice to my son by not encouraging him to climb up the stairs where I'll pick him up, to climb his little body. You know, he's 18 months, 2 years, onto the couch where I can pick him up and things like that. So please take there's yours. Yeah. So please take the time to say, hang on a second to your little one. Listen, mummy's got a uchi, I don't want to get a sore back. You climb up those little stairs, and then I'm going to pick you up from there. You climb into that car seat. I'm going to help you with your bottom and get you in, because you're robbing them of motor skills that they can develop themselves, and that independence, and you're supporting your back as well, you know, on that. So, you know, try that as well. Encourage them. Kids are really good to adapt, you know, very, very good. Yeah.
I've been robbed of my microphone, and that means you have a question.
Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing. And I think this can perhaps wrap things up. The question is, when would be a good time to see a physio to check diastasis recti and pelvic floor for a vaginal and for a C-section birth? And with that, I will give you-
amazing.
Terrific. Great question. You can come in at any stage or time after you've had your baby, be it the vaginal and or C-section deliveries. We used to traditionally say 6 weeks. It takes about 6 weeks for the uterus to shrink down, and therefore it's not pressing on your dram, your separation, and your pelvic floor, and we can then do a good assessment. We're now assessing mums sooner, so if you want to come in sooner around that 3 weeks mark, and we reassess at 6, or you just want to come in at 6 is fine, and that is no difference for a vaginal or a C-section. The only difference is how we will progress you in terms of your exercise and your progression. I really recommend every mum does, and to help you out as well, we've actually got a voucher that I've given to Bumpwise ladies and to Elise at Pram Fox. It's 15% off your first assessment if you want to come in and use that. The ladies have that, and they can electronically send it to you, and you can use that on your first assessment as well.
Perfect. Yeah, for moms who can't have the physical voucher, I think if they just say
that,
the code Bumpwise, I
Yeah,
think you'll get
that's
your 15% off.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Thank you so much. So I am super, super happy.
Sorry, I'm being encouraged to tell you about us.
Yeah, please do.
We specialize in solutions, like customized solutions. So we put a lot of effort into understanding your needs and your lifestyle, and then we can help recommend products that will be specifically suited to you. So we're all about solutioning. So if you need a hand, just get in touch.
And without the hard sell too. That's really,
Yeah,
really nice, because
exactly.
you
I'm a
don't want to be
terrible
hard
salesperson.
sold. Yes,
Just going
you
to say
are.
that
Yeah.
why I love Elise
Me
is that
too.
she doesn't oversell
Yeah.
and she's the queen of stroller hacks and all sorts of hacks. So
Mhm,
I
she
think that's
is.
really good as well, that you can see,
Yeah.
you know, I'm paying for a consultation. I'm in good hands. She really is the expert of everything baby related.
Mhm,
And I'll say at
understood.
this point as well, you know, what I never knew before I came to Singapore is that so many products are sold that are not necessarily registered for use or allowed to use, especially for car seats. If you've got a Australian car seat, they're not allowed to use them in Europe and so on. So figuring out what is the best solution for you, coming from a multicultural family as well, and traveling loads and so on,
Yeah.
is really good.
Good.
And so Elise is the person to go to.
I do. I just want to wrap it up by just saying, you know, always face your load, love your load, apply those postures and principles using really good adaptive equipment, and you should be fine. And reach out to any one of us in this team, Pram Fox, Bumpwise, or any of us, if you need any help or guidance. We've all been there as mums. You know, we're all at different stages of life, and we're happy to help you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So thank you to everyone in the team.
Yes,
Diana,
thank
the
you,
background,
ladies. We did
Elise,
it. Elise and Diana and Joanna.
gave us
Yeah.
all the props.
Yeah.
And Danielle, it was super informative. Like
Good.
even I learned, as you said, you know, this is not just for the
Nope.
postpartum period. So I really love seeing these movement strategies and seeing how I can move more efficiently with less effort. I
Mhm.
think that is what I took home from the session today.
Great.
And so this is really amazing. Thank you for the mummies. I don't even know how many were on the call.
Yeah,
But
thank
we
you.
always know that so many people are watching the video later on. So we're super happy to share the link with you. In
And
a
share the
minute.
recording with your friends and pass it on. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's time to end the meeting. I hope everybody has a lovely day.
Yeah.
I know I will.
It's her
And-
birthday. Happy birthday. Yay.
baby.
Hey,
Thank you
baby.
so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks,
Thank
guys. Thanks
you.
for your time.
And, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see you again next week.
Pleasure.
Oh,
Bye.
actually the week after.
The week after. Bye.
Bye.